The remastered of Tales of Graces F has recently came out, and a lot of people have been enjoying their time with it. Unfortunately, I haven't bought the game yet. But I have finished through the PS3 version, so I can't say that I have a background around its story and its characters. With its fast-paced gameplay, gorgeous world, and a story about understanding oneself and its themes around found family, Graces was an amazing experience. One interesting tidbit has to do with the Amarcians, a tribe of outstanding intellectuals whose very being was a secret to the people of Ephinea. The characters from the Amarcian tribe are named after real-life mathematicians. 3 of them you might already know are Pascal, Fourier, and Poisson, named after the 3 French mathematicians Blaise Pascal, Joseph Fourier, and Simeon Denis Poisson. This information seems to only refer to their names. But let's go one step further. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the relations between the Amarcians and their mathematician counterpart. As a disclaimer, I wasn't able to find official sources corroborating this, so this video is mainly to humor the idea. On top of that, I'll be linking videos in the description if you want to learn more about specific topics, since I don't count myself as an expert of these concepts, and this video will not dive too deeply into mathematics. To minimize confusion, we will be referring to the Amarcians by their name and the mathematicians by their first name, i.e. Pascal as Blaise, Fourier as Joseph, and so forth. As always, there's going to be spoilers, so if you haven't played through Graces, come back to this video once you have. Unless you don't mind spoilers, then that's okay. You can continue on the video as it is. Let's start off with 2 Amarcians before we move on to the main one. Fourier is the older sister of Pascal. She is an Amarcian with a sense of pridefulness and skills in mechanics, biomedical engineering, and biology. She was recruited by the Fendel government to work on extracting elith from the volcanist Creus, Forbiner. She is a caring sister to Pascal, but sees her as a rival when it comes to research. Even though Pascal completes and improves on Fourier's work most of the time, and unknowingly challenges Fourier's pride, Fourier tries to make sure that Pascal is safe and helps her when needed. Fourier's name is taken from the French mathematician Jean-Baptiste Joseph Fourier. Joseph started out his journey with mathematics at a young age, and later took more interest in it after leaving the path of priesthood in order to make a major impact in the world of mathematics. For someone who is known to be held in high regards and to be ingenious, Joseph Fourier went to establish the principles for heat conduction and the study of trigonometric functions that is known to be the Fourier Series, a cycle or periodic function of infinite sums of sine and cosine waves that paved the way for generalized functions to be made, such as the Fourier transform. The Fourier transform constructs and deconstructs these signals into individual sinusoids. This allowed us to use this information for many aspects in our lives, such as signal processing, file compression, image processing, sound, and many more. Even though Fourier's appearances in the game were just a few, there are some similarities and differences between her and Joseph Fourier that we can consider. One notable difference is their profession. Fourier is a biologist compared to Joseph being a mathematician. Even so, due to the Fourier series and Fourier transform being part of systems such as biomedical engineering, a connection can be made stating that Fourier could use Joseph's formula to work out her ability to construct her varus. Joseph is known to contribute to the initial findings to what is now known as the greenhouse effect and the theory on heat conduction, which could also be one more thing that Fourier could have used to create her varus. One similarity is Fourier's and Joseph's need to make a big impact. In Fourier's case, her rivalry with her sister and pride as an Amarcian drives her to make an impact with her research, whereas Joseph wanted to make an impact like Newton and Blaise did in the mathematical world. Another similarity is Joseph's and Fourier's working for a country on top of their own research. Fourier was brought in to help with the Valkyrinus Creus Forbiner in Fendel, while Joseph joined Napoleon's army as a scientific advisor. Altogether, between the two, there seems to be some similarities and differences, and how Joseph's mathematics can technically relate back to Fourier's character. Poisson, another significant character in Tales of Grace's plot, is an Amarcian that is close to the overseer of the tribe. According to Pascal, she is next in line to take over the overseer's place. Due to her being next in line, Poisson is very involved in the politics between the Amarcians and the people of Ephinea. This is evident due to the overseer's halt on speaking with others, and Poisson taking the place as the representative for the Amarcians. She presents herself as calm and relaxed, even when observing the humorous antics of Pascal. Asbel and Co. finds her at Riot's peak as a replacement guardian, and she faces them with a hammer as a weapon of choice. Her name comes from the French mathematician Simeon Denis Poisson. Simeon's life was one of low income and low notoriety, so his parents made it their number one priority to give him a good start despite the circumstances. Even though his poor dexterity made him not capable of getting specific professions, he was able to reach higher positions such as being appointed repetier, professorship, astronomer, and the chair of mechanics at a young age. Simeon's name will be connected to many different ideas today, such as his major work on probability theory through the Poisson distribution, the Poisson ratio on elasticity, and the Poisson equation, to name a few. The connections between Poisson and Simeon are quite interesting. One such connection comes from one of Simeon's equations, the Poisson equation. The Poisson equation is a partial differential equation that derives from the Laplace equation. What this means is that unlike the Laplace equation, where the source term is equal to 0, the Poisson equation requires the source term to be known, i.e., the force that is acting upon the function, whether it be space, or time, or heat, etc. This equation allows applications on concepts such as Newtonian gravity and electrostatics. When producing the Poisson equation for these concepts, you have to start with the equation for Gauss's law on gravity or electricity, depending on which one you're solving for. This equation was produced by the German mathematician, geodesist, physicist, and astronomer Carl Friedrich Gauss. Now, how does this relate back to Poisson? Well, in the game, the player can go to a specific area in the Amarcian enclave or complete an in-request by Poisson on behalf of the overseer, which has the name of the overseer on the request. The player finds out that the overseer's name is Gauss, which comes full circle to the connection to Poisson and Simeon due to the Poisson equation. As a side note, some has called Carl the Princeps Mathematicum, or the foremost of mathematicians. So having Gauss, the Amarcian elder, be named after Carl Friedrich Gauss sounds about right, since we are talking about the elder of the Amarcians. Another connection can be from both Poisson and Simeon being able to fill powerful roles at a young age, with Poisson being next in line as the overseer and Simeon becoming an astronomer, professor, and a high-level tutorer in his early mid-20s. Though there are some differences between the two. Simeon wasn't interested in the political aspects of France, and rather delved deeper into the mathematics. Poisson, being close to the overseer and next in line, needed to be part of the political sphere of the Amarcians and Fendel. Poisson also has very good dexterity in terms of fighting and keeping track of multiple things at once. For example, keeping an eye on Sophie, while also getting the shuttle and the heat ray cannons ready to blast through the aquasphere. This is unlike Simeon, where he lacks dexterity and needing to only focus on one study at a time. From there, that leaves us with the main Amarcian of graces.
Who are you?
Who, me? I'm Pascal! It's nice to meet you!
Pascal is a research-loving, mechanical engineering, positive-driven member of the Graces cast. Though oblivious and doesn't understand boundaries most of the time, she brings joy and light to the group. Throughout her whole life, Pascal has been filled with wonder and curiosity. She takes a lot from her older sister Fourier when she was younger, mimicking everything she does when it comes to scientific research. Some say she was a child prodigy for improving on many studies done by her sister. Sometime later, she leaves the Amarcian enclave to go on a journey to research the ancestors of the Amarcian tribe around Ephinea. Her notable achievements are fixing the problems with the water and fire volcanists, breaking through the aquasphere, helping Asbel and Co throughout their journey, and creating a mecha unit with Asbel and Sophie's image. Pascal has proven to be a force of knowledge and scientific expertise. The mathematician she takes her name from is Blaise Pascal, the French mathematician that paved the way for the foundations on theory of probability through the Pascal triangle, added on to the existence of a vacuum when analyzing the difference in atmospheric pressure, and outlined the systems in hydrostatics, which is known to be the Pascal's law on pressure. Blaise is also noted to have created the first digital calculator, known as the Pascaline. However, due to his health deteriorating from a chronic illness, Blaise turned to theology and less mathematics in his later years. Even though he ended up moving towards a theological perspective later on and became an influential philosopher, he still was able to contribute a lot in the area of mathematics. Both Pascal and Blaise have incredible achievements under their belt. Both are dedicated researchers to the point of not taking care of themselves when they are focused on their work. Though, comparing the two, not taking care of yourself due to underlying illness is a lot different than not sleeping or taking a bath for weeks on end because you're so engrossed in your research. Both are child prodigies, showing genius ability at a young age, and speaks their mind when it comes to anything. Research-wise, they aren't afraid to point out the flaws or to correct someone when their logic doesn't apply. However, Pascal tends to come to this from the kindness of her heart and mind, whereas Blaise was known to be pugnacious, meaning that he was quick to argue even though he seeks to be meek and humble. Another similarity is their ability to create mechanical works. For Blaise, he created the first digital calculator, whereas Pascal has created Mecha Asbel and Mecha Sophie. If we were to relate a study by Blaise to Pascal's character, I speculate that Pascal's abandoned study on fire creas possibly had something to do with Pascal's law on pressure. Pascal's law on pressure states that if a pressure change was to be put on a fluid in a confined space, then that pressure would be equally distributed without losing any of it. Pascal explains to Fourier that applying too much pressure when extracting Eleth can cause the creas to explode. Now why is that? Well, let's say that extracting the Eleth involves a specific type of force to do so. This in return causes pressure within the volcanist to occur. If the volcanist has a specific pressure distribution within it, then adding additional force to any small area will increase the pressure inside it, causing it to explode. Fire creas being a source of heat may also be another reason as to why extracting Eleth in this way is problematic, since heated molecules in a confined area already exerts a lot of energy, creating pressure along the walls of whatever is being contained in. In this case, applying force on a confined area that is known to be already in intense pressure is a setup for disaster. One difference between the two is their perspectives. Pascal looks at things through a positive lens, with the perception that everything will work out in the end. Blaise, on the other hand, was known to be pessimistic about life due to the tragic events he has gone through. Here we have one's life, which was filled with knowledge and a bigger strive for discovery through a positive light, and another life, whose discoveries and achievements were alongside suffering. For one more comparison that I found amusing, we look to Pascal's personality for this. Stay with me for this one. One day, it is said that Blaise Pascal met René Descartes during a visit to Marin Messin's chambers. Blaise wanted to put clarity on Evangelista Torricelli's invention on the barometer and figured out a way to prove the existence of a vacuum, since most scientists didn't believe in such in the 17th century. The two argued about the vacuum, in which Descartes also did not believe in. After Descartes' visit, he wrote a letter to Christian Huygens, stating that Blaise, and I quote, had too much vacuum in his head. Now what's another way to call someone that has too much vacuum in his head? An airhead.
Pascal, what's an airhead? Someone who's so smart they can control air with their mind. Wow, you're amazing.
Some may say that Pascal's personality is like an airhead, in which Descartes was implying Blaise to be due to his viewpoints on the existence of a vacuum and Blaise's insistence on its truth. Though, for Pascal's case, it is ironic given the fact that she is the smartest person within the group. The connection here is far-reaching, and depending on which translation you're reading of the selective correspondence of Descartes, you get totally different translations. Either he was referring to Blaise being an airhead, or he was referring to Blaise being too hasty on his research, and when the results do come in, being flimsy around it. Though, it would be funny to think that a major quip by a well-known mathematician to another mathematician could have been the foundation of a character's whole personality. We finish up this video with Fermat, whose name is based on the French mathematician Pierre du Fermat. Unfortunately, due to Fermat being only part of two small sections in the game, there isn't much to go by when comparing her to Pierre. However, we can say that Pascal's being good friends with Fermat can relate back to Pierre sending letters to Blaise as he saw him as a good friend. This right here adds another connection to Pascal and Blaise. The Amarcians are an intelligent tribe, and it makes sense why the Tales team named them after real-life mathematicians that have shaped the concepts of our own world. Diving deeper, we see that it may even go beyond just the first name basis. Overall, this was a fun thought experiment, and it was interesting to look into some of the mathematics when researching these characters, as well as learning about the mathematicians that they were based on. I also did a fair bit of math, which has been a long time since I did anything that involves physics, calculus, or math in general. With that note, thank you for watching this video, and I'ma head out again. Peace.